After the paper is rolled, it is moved and lowered to the floor below, where they are stored until they are cut into sheets. The paper is taken off the rolls and cut into smaller pieces of paper. The paper is wrapped in a cover and then packaged in boxes. The boxes are then put into storage, where they stay until they are shipped off.
I am absolutely sure that there's nobody at that plant that wants to see more pollution coming into Lake Champlain and coming into our air and water and food. And I know, I'm sure that the people there have the best intentions. I mean, they're basically, I think that what's happening is that the plant is getting some kind of like message from the top. They know they're threatened, right? The person who is currently the plant manager oversaw the closing of this plant in Pennsylvania, which they also threatened the people in that community. Well, if you don't let us burn tires, this plant's going to close down and all these jobs are going to be lost. Okay, so they let them burn tires. 3 years later, plant closes. All those people lost their jobs. And the person who oversaw that, I believe, is the current plant manager at Tichonderoga. So, obviously, you know, they're getting the squeeze from, or the, you know, from higher up. Like, look, you make your plant more profitable, or you're out of there. That's not cool. That, you know, that's totally inappropriate. Those are people's jobs, and that's greed. That's called greed. You know, the CEO of International Paper is quite highly paid. You know, he can take a small pay cut and they can invest in more appropriate pollution control technology. We can all learn. I mean, it's not, I don't put all the blame on the corporation. It's all of us. We all use paper.
I know that they need to stay competitive in a world market. I just want to be sure that if that were to happen, that the most advanced air quality treatment, air pollution control devices are being used, and that savings isn't being generated, you know, on the backs of Vermonters or basically on their lungs. That we're breathing, in effect, their profits. And if the electrostatic precipitators cost them some money, they'll recoup those costs at $1.5 million a year pretty darn quickly. So that I want to be sure that we all know that what comes out of that plant is going to be pollution in the end. But I think people all across the state of Vermont want to be sure that they pollute as little as they need to.
Documentation from the EPA and from the regulatory agencies scientific literature will tell you that there are multiple uses for beneficial uses for used tires.
Yep.
However, the quantity of tires that we already have landfilled in this country, which exceeds 3 billion,
Yep.
We added 230 million last year alone. That quantity is certainly not going to be used up by the other options for utilizing tires. They use small amounts of tires, you know, things like road fill or playground
Yep.
fill or that sort of thing. So tire-derived fuel is certainly the major beneficial use for used tires right now.
If you burn dirty fuel, you've got to clean up what comes out of the stack is the answer.
But there probably isn't any way to completely diminish all that waste that's coming out. I mean,
It can be done. It just is going to require more complex treatment of the system. Scrubbers, precipitators, and those scrubbers and precipitators are going to use up energy. And I would guess that the plant would be better off using its traditional fuel and not using its dirty fuel, plus adding all this equipment to clean it up. Mm-hmm. It will be, in the end, more expensive. The fuel is cheaper, but the cost of making it run properly and keeping the air clean is greater. And so there won't be any improvement to the bottom line of the company. I should think they would just ought to get out of the business of trying to burn really poisonous, dirty material in their power plant. It's bad enough as it is with just the oil they're using. You add this other stuff and it's
just a matter of money and what.
It's like poison gas, chemical. You know, chemical warfare is what they're practicing on the public.
Pollution shouldn't be a business model. That staying afloat and competitive should not be done by just polluting more.